Okay, guys, so as promised, this is a video that is just going to quickly walk you through, again, expectations of the fetal pig presentation report. So if you scroll down, right, underneath modules, keep going, module 7, module 8, right, we get to the fetal pig report, which is due next Monday, April 13th. Gives you a brief overview, again, of expectations. You're going to download a copy of the template. And again, if we pull up the template, now let's walk through, again, just general expectations. So as it states in the discussion board itself, or I should say in the post itself, right, you are going to be filling this in by removing the template background and filling it in with your own personal information, right? Again, first and foremost, this should not be here. This should be a creative title that you are coming up with on your own, right? Even though, again, inside of the fetal pig report, I don't necessarily want this as your report title, right? This is just an explanation of basically what you did. So you can use some variation of this, but again, I'm looking for your creative terminology, your language, your work. So continuing on then, what do we got? So just like anything that you would see in a peer review or a research paper, you are going to give me a generalized overview. This will probably be the last thing you will do. That is usually how it works inside of research. We write the paper because, right, we are gathering the data all along the way. That data, right, was based on the foundation of what we understood about the field. Then we can turn that information of foundation of what we know in the field, explaining what we're going to do, right? That's basically what you did in your last lab report write-up, so you've already got some familiarity with it. You're going to get some results. Those results are going to inform you how well did you move the field forward? Did it answer what you thought you were going to find? Right? And again, science is always out to seek what's technically not true, right? The null hypothesis is just as important because it tells us what's not real, what's not true. And so even if you are finding that your hypothesis lines up with your results, you're still proving what's there or not there, right? So the not there is just as important. So with all that in mind, this will probably be the last thing you will come to as far as writing it. And again, notice that this giant box, even though it's the majority of what the slide is, I'm telling you to write your abstract here, which means all of this is going to go away. Now, again, I don't really care that you write it in the black box versus the green box. It's just you're going to pick one or the other to write it in, and then you're going to remove the rest, right? This should not be a giant regurgitation. I should not have a, giant paragraph here. I should have a brief summary of what this is meant, what this presentation, this paper, right, this report is going to tell me. And again, if you're confused, go find some peer review research that already exists. Go literally type into Google peer review research papers from the last 5 years on forensic entomology. And then you will start to see papers come up, right, that give you an understanding of what, well, let's just do it. Let's just practice it. Why not? Right? I'm just going to put parentheses, right? So if I just click on some of these, right? First and foremost, notice now where I am. I'm in Google Scholar. Now I can look at a custom date range, right? So let's pick since 2026. So I know that I'm within this year. These are all papers that were published this particular year, right? So if I am purely just clicking on this, this doesn't have any relevance to what we're looking at as far as our research. But notice again here, notice what the abstract is. It's a hyper specified discussion point that's taking the field and narrowing it down to what I've proved in this research article, that such that if I am trying to research, is this an article that would be beneficial to me so that I can understand the field a little bit better, right? This is going to give me the 30,000-foot view without me having to go into the details. So all of this, if I read through here, right, I am going to get an understanding of what the field is. I am going to then understand where they're fitting in, and I'm going to be able to walk away just from reading this paragraph of what they added to as far as this research article, right? Again, I don't know if all of maybe most of these might be reviews. Some of these, again, if you don't have access to it, you might, again, look for what's available. PDF. Here is the abstract. So again, this is purely just a space where you are answering these basic questions and again, giving your actual results and findings. This will be probably the last thing you will write. Okay, now we're going to go into what the next version of the paper would be. So again, if we go back to our research papers, let's look for a different one. Da, 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 da. Large language models. So let's open up the PDF, right? Let's verify my information. Again, if you are logged in through your my UNT Dallas, usually it will open up availability because it sees you linked with a student account. Okay, so here's our abstract. And now what do we see? We see that there is an introduction. And notice the biggest, most important part here of this introduction. It's got a scattering of other research papers that are going to walk me through what the field already has in place. If you want to make your argument for anything in life, right, you are going to start from a foundation of knowledge of which you understand, right? Even if it's a personal thing that you are trying to relate to, you're going to start with the foundation. Even in the most heated of arguments in a personalized relationship, you're going to be starting from the context of the foundation of which you both agree upon that this is the reality that you both understand. So this is what an introduction is. An introduction is simply taking the field, whatever area, so for you it's forensic entomology, and you're looking at it as a snapshot in time of what you understand about forensic entomology. You are going to probably want to look up papers around forensic entomology, specifically in Texas, maybe specifically within DFW, maybe specifically within Dallas, right? And so again, you're narrowing it down to find information that's pertinent for you and somebody else to agree upon to say, yep, we both can say that this is what the current field says, right? This is where the standing and understanding is. So my, again, recommendation would be go to a research paper and read just the introduction. It'll give you a very good understanding of what this is supposed to entail. So again, you are now translating that over into a research slide presentation. And again, researchers have to do this all the time, right? They are not taking giant swaths of text and putting that in here. That will automatically get you a deduction in points. If I open this up and it is visually overwhelming with a bunch of text because you panicked and you just copied and pasted a bunch of stuff in here and you just threw in a bunch of stuff from AI or whatever it regurgitated to you, you didn't try. You didn't put any effort into understanding what the point of this is. The point of this is to take your information and now make it a presentation, right? Because just like I'm talking to you and I'm walking through this is what you guys are eventually going to do. It would be like if you were going to a research conference and you're making the case of, I did this field study and this is what I found. This is what I was able to locate. Okay, so what is forensic entomology? Now I've given you big, beautiful blocks of things to look for in the peer review research. This should be small bullet points. You could maybe have, if again, a picture helps to tell the story, you can put that in there. But what are you for sure going to have in here? You are absolutely, and again, um, oops, notice here, you should provide substantive background, not Wikipedia sentence, not copy and paste from AI. You need to use and cite research appropriately. So again, my biggest thing, go read any research article. It doesn't even have to be about forensic entomology. It might be helpful to read about forensic entomology, but again, get the general understanding. Oh, this person is giving me a background of where the field is. And then guess what? By the time I'm done reading the introduction, just like any introduction that you would read in a normal paper, it's going to narrow it down and tell me this is what I'm going to learn from this paper. That's exactly what you're doing here. Okay. So again, you are narrowing down for me what forensic entomology is, what it helps us to understand, right? And again, you might want to be shifting me as the audience to saying location is very important. We already know that. Environment is really important because it's going to tell us what types of species, when are they moving, when are they available with inside of the climates, right? Throughout the year, throughout the seasons. You're guiding me. You're going out and getting the research to tell me. You don't know this. This is not you that created this. This is the research that created this information, right? The, you know, decades of work that somebody else has done, lots of other people have done, right? This is where you go and find your resources. Okay, I've beat that horse. Then what? Now, I know that I'm putting in a question for you. Please just rewrite this into your own words. Again, it's very easy for me to just look back at what I gave you as a template and say, did you just simply get lazy and copy and paste this? I'm looking for you to try and be a little bit creative, right? So again, this is what you will need to do because this is the understanding of what you did, right? So this is where, again, as a grader, I'm going to be looking and checking, is the hypothesis a directional and scientifically reasoned? And again, this is where building the foundation of, hey, here's what the field tells us. Here's really what forensic entomology is. Here's the types of questions forensic entomology can answer for us. It's why we made a whole field about it. And because of that, now I can actually ask this type of research question, right? So again, read through what is a hypothesis supposed to look like and what is a null hypothesis. A null hypothesis is just as important in science, if not the most important, because science is not looking to say it's this or it's that. And it's never saying anything with 100% certainty. It's working in probabilities. It's working in possibilities, right? And the beautiful part about science is if in 1,000 years from now all of this was incorrect, we would still be we would be reworking this based off of the research that was already done. We would be disproving it. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's the beauty of science. It's always seeking out what's available. Okay, moving on. So again, pretty standard. You're going to keep in probably pig A, pig B, because again, that's pretty standard. And you're going to, again, tell me what were you looking at here? I know a lot of this seems pretty self-explanatory, and you're like, well, Dr. Parker, you kind of built this for us. Yes, but I'm looking for you to put this into your own language. Also, put in pictures, right? How is this going to make it more exciting and engaging to you to be able to talk to me about it or the audience about it as you make your video? Okay. I got you started here with a little bit of an example. I'm giving you the predicted succession and species timeline based on, again, where you are. So this is where you got to go back to that field book, that field guide, see what's available within the area, what is native to this area, and what would be the expectations. And then you're going to go back to your pictures and you're going to say, this is what I predict, again, before you even get to your pictures, this is what, based on the research that's in this area, we should be seeing, right? Again, you still are not talking about your data at any point here. Methodology, pretty self-explanatory. Now you get into your site visits. You're going to catalog the information. And the biggest part here is notice that I have, just as an example here, photo reference, and again, you're going to label it pig A, visit 2, visit 1, etc. Oh, I skipped over visit 1, right? This is my first picture. And where are these images? These are going to be links that are on a Google Drive that you have given me access to. Please make sure you provide access to everyone. How do you do that? Right? So you are opening and creating a drive. I'm going to click on this for right now, right? I'm going to open my syllabus from spring 2026 in my environmental science. Notice up here it says share. I'm going to click on that. Who has access? Anyone with the link has access to it, right? You would have to change that. Now, what you don't want to do, or if you do want to do, it's up to you, right? You can change who has access based on what you want them to do. For the purposes here, just keep it as viewer. I just want to be able to see the pictures. I don't want to modify them. I don't want to do anything. And obviously, you probably wouldn't want your lab mates or somebody else to maybe do that too. So just click it as viewer. But the biggest thing is you have to make sure everyone with the link has access. It's going to default to restricted. Make sure you fix this. Okay, I beat that horse. So again, most of this is just going to be the data that you're going to input. And for here, right, you're going to probably have lots of pictures, I would hope. You might even have, again, notice that in the descriptor, it says, replace every prompt with your, do not delete slides, but add any additional slides. What does that mean? That means that if you have gone out for an additional site visit in between the 2 major ones we did in class, guess what? Copy this slide, paste it, and just modify site visit 1, site visit 2, site visit 3, right? And again, this is how you build the narrative. This is how you build your representation of what you gathered of your data. Okay, same thing for site visit 2. Now what? Now you're going to go back to your pictures. This is absolutely where I would encourage you to use AI, or I would encourage you to upload your pictures to Google Images. Let it find the images for you. You bet your biscuits, right? Unless they are a forensic entomologist themselves, but if somebody's doing this adjacently, right? Use the research that is available to you. Please, by all means, right? There's going to be cases where even forensic entomologists are going to see how well does the AI system pick up what I, as a trained scientist in this field, are seeing. Does those two things align, right? So again, try it, confirm it, and also go back to the resource guide and make sure, right, the Texas field guide, does this make sense? Or, did AI give me a beetle that would make no sense to be in Dallas, Texas? And again, we know the body didn't transfer from somebody else. It was inside of a deep freezer, so nothing was getting access to it, right? So again, look through, and now here you're going to confirm, what did you see? What did you actually find out at the body? Now you're into your results, right? Again, slides 8, slides 9, slides 10, you're in the results. Slide 11. Now you're just telling me what you find. This is kind of like your discussion point. Now, here's where you go back to your peer review research again. Is there somebody that has looked at freezer burn effect? I can 100% guarantee you somebody has. Base and compare and contrast. Does it support what the field is finding compared to you? You might not have a perfect match, and that is okay. Give me your best representation of that data, right? Maybe here you want, maybe you're like, man, it would be really great to see a picture at this point. Absolutely. Maybe you want to give me, again, in your earlier representations, a map of where you found the pigs, where they were located, right? Some imaging. Look through here. And again, what happened? Connect your observations to the biology of what freezer burn is. Tell me what freezer burn is and why that is affecting your um, forensic, for why that is affecting your entomological succession rate, right? Because we clearly saw a difference between these two. Okay, now you have to give me the justification for that. What does freezer burn do biologically? Then you're going to tell me, was your null hypothesis supported or rejected? Notice that that is just as important as your hypothesis being, right? Again, PMI implications and your overall conclusions. So again, you are a forensic entomologist called to a scene. The body shows consistent freezer damage. What would you infer by addressing these questions? Now I'm asking you, okay, you've just gone out, you've done some really good data interpretation. You've read the research, you've read the field, you have a good understanding of what this does. Now you're going to pretend that you're that person, right? And again, remove this information of the questions, give me your responses, but make them engaging. Do not just blot text in here. Maybe again, this is where you can bring in images, pictures, data, but again, make sure you're citing where this information is coming from. What was your limitations? Your sample size probably is going to be a big one. You didn't have a lot of sample size there, right? And again, looking at some of these other ones, I've given you these. Maybe these are not the only ones you want to include. Maybe you want to take one of these out and say, actually, it's this or it's that, or I think it could be, right? Look at all of this. You modify this. And maybe again, maybe a picture demonstrates some of your limitations. Put it in there. Make this engaging as if I was watching you present it, which theoretically that is what I'm going to do. But again, if you were in this big auditorium, you would want people to be so stoked about what you were presenting. Make sure it's engaging. Blah, 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 text, and it's just you going, two cadavers is not sufficient for statistical interference, describing how many replicates of rigorous study and the rodent trap limits. That is not a presentation and that is not engaging. And yes, you will lose significant points for your presentation style. You have a week to work on this. Practice it, give it to your friends, give it to your family members, get the flow down, get that nice and tight so that when you're ready to record, you feel good about what's coming, right? Every one of us that had to go through this process, or every one of us that goes to conferences, you bet your biscuits, we practice what we're going to say because it's a presentation, right? You're not just up there winging it. I'm not looking at it for the first time after I've put it together and then be like, okay, it's done. Now I'm going to just hit record. No, I'm going to look back and make sure, do I have typos? Is the framing correct? Is everything within the rights? Can I see it appropriately, right? And again, it's going to look very different. See how it looks very different when I put it into presentation mode? So again, take this time to really professionally polish this, to know your material, remove text as much as possible, give me pictures, data, information, and again, make sure it looks good, make sure you're comfortable with it. This, even in and of itself, is weird to do, right? You're going to feel like, oh, this is weird. I'm recording myself. Practice, just practice. That's all I'm asking you to do. Okay. The last little bits here, I want you to give me your feedback. No, this purely is just that. Remove this. Maybe you want to give me a different picture. Maybe you want to give me something that you saw. Maybe you and your lab mates took a picture together. Whatever it may be, I don't really care. I just want you to tell me about what you thought about the project. This is free, easy points. So take time. Tell me what you would like to see. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, what could be improved or not, right? Based on going forward. References. And again, your thank you. We always have a thank you slide, right? So that is it. I know this was pretty long, but I wanted to make sure to give you guys as much possible information to go back to. And again, I will consistently point this out over the next 2 lessons to say like, hey, go watch that video. You can pause, rewind, backwards, come forwards, all of that. And again, you will record this. Notice I'm doing it through Zoom. You have access to Zoom. You just have to log in through the school and that's easy. You can do it with inside of Studio, right? Let me go back. There is Studio here. Now you have to download it and make sure you upload it back into the discussion board post or as a link. But to me, Zoom is the easiest. It's just the easiest way to do it. You also can present with inside of PowerPoint, right? But I need to see you. I need to hear you. And most importantly, as you are presenting, I should not see your slides over here. I should see this in presentation mode, right? And the beautiful part is if you have the opportunity to have another slide or another screen, you can see what's coming, right? But again, this is a presentation. I should see just you and just the presentation of the slides. Again, this is not a presentation. I'm going to be super distracted by looking at like, okay, what are they doing next? And what are they doing next? And, you know, I've got all this other stuff that isn't you. It's not what I need to be paying attention to. And in essence, a presentation is really just there to support who I'm listening to. It's just there to be like, hey, look at this. Okay, now pay attention to me. Look how cool this is. Okay, now I'm going to tell you what's important about that, right? So all that to say, if you have any questions about what you're doing, please reach out to me. This is available to you. Go through it. Please take a look it over. I know it's very long. Break it up into sections, but it's available as a resource tool. Okay, I digress. Again, any questions, reach out and good luck. I'm excited to see what you guys put together.